Hi, fellow traders. I know it's been a while since I've been on, but didn't get welcomed back with open arms today, as you'll see in a minute. But that's fine. I know what I did wrong, and the whole purpose of these videos is to share with you some of the struggles that you run into, especially with trading a small account. And it's things that we just have to deal with and wrap our heads around it and then just move forward. But today I did something that I haven't done in a long, long, long time. I put a ticker on my watch list that never hit my scan. And I know it was a product of me not going through the same morning routine. Normally I'm up at 6. I go work out, take a shower at the gym and get dressed. And when I get home, it's just like I'm coming to work. Cut my computer on, start making me some breakfast, and I'm ready, to start searching the market, vetting the stocks that hit my scan and all of that. Well, I can't go to the gym right now, so I have more time sitting in front of my computer, which, idle hands are the devil's workshop, as they say. So I had too much time, and I started looking at, social media, and came across LUV, and I kind of liked the chart. LUV looked like it was going to be a good, opportunity. So I put it on my watch and ended up, that was the one I ended up trading and, took a nice hit on it. But the first mistake was I had a ticker on my watch that should have never have been there. So here's the trade. What I'm doing, I'm looking for it to fail the VWAP. I was looking for the opening fade, come back and test VWAP for the fail. So you see I've got my order out here. It just got hit. It was 37.86. And I think VWAP was at 90, around 90 or something like that. So it was a decent entry. But then as soon as I entered, it started to test VWAP. Actually go back and test it. It didn't start fading on it immediately. So rarely do you get in a trade that it starts working as soon as you get in. So you're going to watch it go against you for a minute. Now watching the P&L is going to give you more pain than if you were watching just the chart. So that's why I suggest just watching the chart. And so you can see it's starting to work. We're starting to pick up a little bit. But, like I said, until we get clear, meaning we get a candle to close below it, and then the next candle start to open weak, that's when we know that we're going to actually be in good shape. And so now you see right now, I know it's faded a little bit now. Let me move this off so hopefully it'll come back. All right, you see we're at, I'm at $45 unrealized gains. There's no reason for you to take it off here. No reason for me to take it off. But the reason why I stopped it at 45 because that's as far as it got. 37.70 was as far as it got. And I'm thinking, I'm watching this and I'm like, man, we're going to get a nice little wash here. And I'll be able to cover, some when it gets to the next level of support. Which I hate that I can't put that on here because, I hate these charts. But I can't put the level because it's just too far away. Now watch what starts to happen. Watch what starts to happen over here. I'm going to go back a little bit more. All right. Now watch level 2. Watch what starts to happen. Watch all of these people start coming in on the left side, and they get taken out real quick. And so it starts to get bought back up, which starts to make the stock go the wrong way. So there's still no reason, because I kept seeing these big orders pop up on this side. The difference is you would have these big orders pop up over here, but you wouldn't see any red prints. And, that's a signal to tell you to get out. And that was my out signal, but I ignored it because I really thought this thing had potential. So I held on as long as, it was below the VWAP, below this level right here. I was going to stick with the trade because I felt that as it came back and tried to test this again, it would get weak, and then eventually it would take these guys out. And then I kept seeing big orders on the ask side. And if you have more people selling than you do buying, then the price is going to continue to go down. So I'm expecting the price to go down because I keep seeing all of this. But all it was just fake orders because they never got taken out and they just disappeared. You would see them all stack up and then they would disappear, but you wouldn't see any red prints over here. You see? These orders are going to disappear, and you're not going to see a steady stream of red prints. And I sat here and held this thing. This is 9:51. It's 10:12 now. We're talking about 20 minutes. I'm down 114 bucks. Now look at this. This is a bullish pattern right here. Anytime you have something continue is making higher lows and higher highs. Each candle, higher low, higher high. That's a bullish setup. And then it's going to start to consolidate on top of this level here, which was resistance, now is support. So that there was a clear signal for me to get out. But did I listen to it? No. I'm still thinking, I should give it a shot. If it was going to push through this, it would have by now. And I know better than that. I was just trying to convince myself that I wasn't wrong. And that's a bad thing to do. Once a trade proves that you're wrong and you start seeing something like this, it still was probably a good idea to use the 9 as a guide. It wasn't a bad decision to move my stop from VWAP to the 9 since it was coming in and I had this resistance right here at the time. That wasn't a bad thing. But once I started seeing this pattern develop, I should have gotten out of the trade and protected, my capital. Just letting it sit here until I stopped myself out was another dumb decision. So I made a bad decision by putting the ticker on my watch list that wasn't part of my scan, which means it probably didn't have, or it probably missed some of the elements that I look for in a tradable stock. And then on top of that, I didn't take it off on my original stop, which was going to be the VWAP. I didn't want to be wrong, so I let this thing continue to go. And that's how I ended up in the hole to start the day out with. Okay, it's 10:20 and I'm still in this. There's no reason for me to be in this trade anymore. None whatsoever. Other than hope. I'm hoping that this thing turns around and comes back. And it gave me a couple of opportunities, when it broke below 100. But now I'm thinking, whoa, this is about to roll over. I'm in good shape now. I'm down what, $64, $84, and now it's gonna go back up. $85. If I'd have been down $84 with commissions, that would have put me at $100 loss. That's easily made up on one trade. With the right trade. But when you don't do it and you don't stick to your stop, and then you just make it worse and worse and worse, you put yourself further in a hole. And then that can cause other problems later on in the day when you're trying to say, I've got to take this trade because I need to make up for this first trade. And you're fighting from behind, and that's a bad mentality. And then you could lose your confidence. You may not get in the trades right. You may not get good entries, and you end up getting stopped out on another trade and then another. So it's really important that if you do get stuck like this, you do start your day off in the hole, that you don't go around trading everything that moves and trying to get your money back, because that will continue to put you in a hole. Yeah, you can get lucky and hit one, but chances are that's not going to happen. And you can see I was down 102, now I'm down 107, and now I'm down 144. And it's time to, at this point, it was just time, because it just made a new high again, and I just went ahead and took it off. And you'll see me click it, I'm done. And there was no reason for me to hold through all of this. Once I saw this and it got to close above VWAP, I should have been out right here. But I wasn't. So that was how my day started. And I did get one more trade. I missed a couple of decent trades. And it wasn't because, it was more or less, I wasn't really focused 100% on it. I didn't have a good conviction on the setup. But had I won, I had that first trade been the winner, then I probably would have took these other two. But because that one was a loser, it made me more selective in the trades I took. And then the one I did take, this was the second one, and you'll see what happened with it. This was on our reversal scanner, this MUR, and you can see let me try to get further along here. MUR, okay. I didn't mean to jump that far. Okay, so what I'm looking at, this was a level here, 30.04. And like I said before, you may have levels of support or resistance, and that's just an area. It may not hit it to the penny. So once I figured, I was well within my risk tolerance, I started looking for an entry. So 30.10, 30.11 was around where I wanted to get in. I put the order out there for 30.12, but 30.11 was here on the ask, and that's what it got hit at. 30.11. So you can see I'm in a trade, and again, this one before it started to work, went red a little bit, and that's what's going to happen. Rarely are you going to get in a trade and it's going to automatically start to work. So I'm looking for the bounce, and I hate these charts because I can't draw the levels. I can cover the SPY up a little and have a bigger chart where I can mark all the levels, and I may have to start doing that. But the thing is, I like to look at the SPY here because I like to time these moves with the SPY. If the SPY was still coming down, I wouldn't have taken this trade to the long side. But because it bounced and it was starting to push up, I went ahead and took this long. And I was taking it on the bottom reversal. You know, and once I got in, this one was taking a long time to resolve. You know, we got a quick move down and then it started to grind up slowly. And those trades, when they start to grind and they're making slow moves and the price action slows down when it gets ready to reverse, you know, those you have to be real careful with too. Because sometimes you won't get the follow through. And right now we've gone through, you know, several minutes and the price action really hadn't moved. It's been within 308 and 312 for the, you know, for a while. So again, I'm sitting here and I'm waiting, you know, I'm in the trade and I'm like, this thing should move. It should have bounced by now. If it wasn't going to bounce, it should have faded and stopped me out. But it shouldn't just be sitting here doing nothing. So that was my concern. So I'm going to bump it up a little bit more. It's starting to work now. We're getting some moves. It took several minutes for it to really get to move. And so now, you know, I've got a candle that opens just a hair above the close. And so now I'm looking for this to continue to push up, you know, to the 9 and give me a decent trade out of this. So I'm sitting here and I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. And then it starts to turn on me a little bit. And it's just looking weak. You know, the stock doesn't look like it has any legs, you know, to drive it any higher. So at this point, I'm just looking at the level 2 because if I start to see some crazy stuff here, you know, then I know that it's going to, you know, affect this trade. So I'm looking to see if we're going to get an influx of buyers that's going to buy it up or if we're going to get a sell-off. So we're sitting and I'm thinking, you know, yeah, we got 20 now. You know, this thing is going to work. You know, we're going to get a nice move up. But again, I was proven wrong because, you know, my goal was 30-40, which was, it was the 20, I mean, the 9 moving average at the time. When I got in the trade, the 9 moving average was at 30-40. So because it's coming in, you know, I was going to have to adapt the price. So I took that off and now I knew that I'm going to have to make, you know, a quick decision about what's going to happen. Let me see right now when I'm looking at level 2, I'm looking at time and sales and I'm starting to see I was starting to see a lot of red prints go through. Yep, still sitting here. I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. And it's just not making a move that I wanted to make. You know, every now and then I start getting happy because I see a lot of people stacking up on the bid side, you know, which should help the stock get bought up. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. but we're just not getting any lift. We're not getting any follow through. And you're going to see me at this point. I'm starting to look, and I'm saying, what I'm seeing here just isn't jiving. And you're going to see me take this trade off here in a few minutes, or maybe in a second or two. Because the last thing I want to do is hold this and let it reverse on me. So now you're going to start seeing more people starting to stack up on the ask side. And this is going to continue to get hit. So I'm here. I'm still, holding on. I'm watching level 2 real close. I'm starting to see more people stack up on the ask, which means the stock price is going to start to go down. Unless we get some buyers to come in, the stock's going to go down. And I don't want it to go down because I'm long. So you're going to see I'm assessing the situation. I'm getting real close. Getting real close. Now I'm pausing now because I see 25 coming up. I'm seeing 30.25 on the horizon, and it gets knocked back down. It loses some orders at 25, and then it starts to go down. And I end up clicking it because I'm watching the time and sales tape, and I'm looking at the orders coming through on the ask. All right, now I'm out. Now I went ahead and got out of this, and this trade is done. Let me go back and show you what I saw. Still, I'm seeing more people, seeing more orders consistently come in on the ask side. So I figured it was time for me to take it off. And turns out, it continued to do that, and we ended up, it ended up fading. Fast, much more. See, ended up fading. It took out the 30 level, and it just continued to wash. So it was actually a nice long trade, and I was actually looking to short this if it failed to push the 9 moving average. I already had that in my mind that's what I wanted to do. If it pushed, I was going to get out and then flip it to the short side and try to get the move back. And if it would have retested, that would have been a nice scalp. If it failed it would have turned into a nice trade. But my eyes are back. My eyes are there. It's not. It's just that you get your timing and sticking to your rules. I knew that coming in the day I was going to really want to take a trade, and really want to get, something in my account, because I want to continue to grow it little bit by little bit. But when that happens and you don't follow your routine and things change, these are the things that can happen. And I'm by no means a professional, trader. I'm an intermediate trader. I can do a lot to help, people get to this point. And I know what you need to do when you get here and what you need to work on. And I can help everybody, and I help everybody that I work with do that. But the problem, is it takes repetition, and it takes years and years of doing the same thing over and over and over again to where it's just second nature. And, that's the stage I'm in now. It's reinforcing and repetition. And you'll see me make mistakes. And like I said, this whole thing that I'm doing with the video, it's to show you the mistakes that you make when you're trading with a small account, because your focus is different. You're going to be a little bit tighter with what you do, and you're going to deal with different emotions. And that's why I'm doing this and trying to get these trades live, and then show you as a trade is going, what's going through my mind and what I'm looking for, to happen. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But the key is, how do you get over having a bad day? That's going to determine how well you do the next day. And really, you could narrow it down into, how are you going to react to your first trade if it's a negative trade? And if you don't react and you don't have a plan to how you're going to handle it, you can handle it the wrong way, and it'll put you even further out in left field. So, how I handle this loss, it's not a whole lot if you look at it. But then if you relate it to your account, when I log in tomorrow, I'll probably have, either $2,300 or a little bit less, and the buying power is going to be down. So, how am I going to react to seeing a smaller number when I log on? And all of these things is what helped me, what determines my success, how I handle adversity. So, I didn't get mad. I didn't throw anything. I didn't go walking around outside, kicking trash cans. I just sat there and, just reflected on what I did wrong, and just started watching the scans. And, that was it. But that's all I have today. I hope you can get something out of it. I hope it was a very valuable lesson that I was able to share. And, I'm going to continue to do this. I mean, if I blow this account up all the way back down, you're going to see me do it. And you're going to see me start over again. Because I don't think the first time I did it was a fluke. And, I need to prove that to myself as well. So until then, everybody have a good evening, a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow in chat.